Hey guys, welcome to the Torch Snuffers podcast. For surveying are two of my favy panelists, Ben Mealy
Hello, friends.
and Stephen Lehman.
Hello.
And we're just going to have a good old-fashioned discussion about the latest episode and kind of, again, the season as a whole. We're catching up on a few episodes. As Stephen was saying before we started filming this, it was just like your typical straightforward, episode of Survivor this week. And then he started being like, yeah, there was only like 2 idols found and a secret advantage that was gained and a tribe that was the underdog that has been dying to lose a challenge that broke their curse and then won. And then someone that was voted out really satisfyingly and got his comeuppance, just standard.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So when you rattle it off like that, this episode was a little more, I guess, like less underwhelming than we originally realized. So let's dive in. And a good place to start seems like at the end, because why not? Because God, that was so satisfying.
Oh my gosh. I can't even with that right now. I'm just like, we're so used as Survivor fans to watching like people think rationally as we want them to do, but have to endure people who on a personal level are just grating, and that's the nature of the game. But to actually see like justice done and see the flat out douchebag extinguished, like you don't get those feel good moments. And yes, I'm classifying this as a feel good moment in Survivor history.
Oh my god. It was funny because I was like, oh my god. I was like, they've been talking all episode about how annoying he is and like how grating he is and how bossy he is and how like honestly he just seemed super hangry to me this episode and I totally related. But like see him get voted off was initially like so satisfying, and then I was like, oh my god, what are they doing? He would obviously have been a great like meat shield or like target at the merge to like keep them safe.
Yeah.
So then I was already like, oh no, like what are you doing? But
I was just like, as satisfying of an exit as that was, it kind of made you go like, wait, what? Like, why are you getting rid of the guy who's like, yes, he's very obnoxious and like abrasive and just like kind of an all-around dick, as he said himself. But like, you want to take that to the merge, I would think, right? But it was also kind of satisfying
to the end. Are you kidding?
Right.
Also, shout out
to that the FTC.
Shout out to Bradley actually being able to say dick on CBS primetime. That surprised me. So,
well, when you use it as a self-depreciating term, I think you have some lenience.
True, yeah.
So I like, if we want to like cut to like the strategy, I like get it. And the reason that I get it is because I honestly think that Jonathan is such an unalarming person on that tribe to those people that they honestly think that he's going to work with whomever he talks to. And I think that that has a lot to do with their comfort level of getting rid of somebody that is quote unquote numbers, especially with it turning into a possible 2v2. So like, I think that's more of a testament to him, and or just the attitude he's getting, because I love to use the E word. But I think that if we're talking like the actual like logic behind it, I think that there is logic behind it only because like Jonathan is there, and I give him unintended credit, I think.
And Jonathan is living his best life away from like Kansas or Nebraska or like wherever in the hell middle America he's from.
Yeah, he's middle nowhere, Kentucky.
I love it. I just enjoy Jonathan discovering like the world and discovering like the power within him, like with every episode. It's so great. And this in this episode it was kind of weird because for once we weren't getting like the Jonathan like, oh my gosh, I did that, I rose to the challenge, because he actually like lost the challenge first try this time. But like,
not only did he lose the challenge, he snapped back during the challenge. Like, come on now. He like snapped back when Bradley came at him.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's my boy. He uses voice.
Yes, he did. But I don't know. I'm so pleased that he's there. I'm so pleased that. Oh wait, no, that was another episode. Just kidding. I'm just. I was gonna say I'm so pleased that he's sharing about his like mom and his grandma. I was like, that was 2 episodes ago.
The one sympathetic moment we've gotten in the history of Chris's life.
Yeah.
Today. Oh my god. Yeah. No, it's funny. So I have been a little behind on Survivor, and so today when I was watching a couple episodes ago, I was like, oh, like Chris. I was like, I like this guy. He's like really great at challenges. And in the back of my brain was wiggling something that was like, no, Alicia, you don't. Like something is wrong. And it literally took me until this episode today, episode 7's promo for next week, that like the Chris Dom feud came back into my life and my mind. And I was like, oh my God, that was a thing.
Alicia, I'm just gonna pinpoint that piece of your brain that's called rationality that you weren't acknowledging at those moments in your life. So I mean, I mean, like, I really do feel for Chris as a person because I really do think that he thinks he's coming off positive. Like, he has no self-awareness, which I mean, for somebody that is of his being is really funny to watch because he falls into the stereotype that he has unintentionally, which is it's like he's trying so hard and think he's doing so well, but at the end, like, I feel like we're just gonna get a continuance of the good feels at Tribal Council next week. I'm bringing the positive vibes. I'm feeling some parchments with Christopher on the front. I'm living for it, but we'll see next episode. We'll talk about that if we want to, but I'm just like.
I do want to give a shout out to Chris for making it to the merge without ever having to go to Tribal.
Seriously, the only one, like, holler.
Yep. He joins the club of like. There's a lot. There's some people, but anyway.
Oh, there are. Okay.
There's
multiple.
Like an elite club, which honestly is like scary to then be like in the real part of the game with no true tested.
Oh yeah, no, that would freak me out.
The thing that would, like, being on the actual game and actually walking through, the thing that would really fucking freak me out if I never went to Tribal till merge is when Jeff says, "Okay, go dip your torch," and then like, everyone's like, let's look at them who never had to fucking do this before. Yeah. 10 rounds in.
I know. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I can't imagine that it will work in his favor in any way, shape, or form.
I just think that Donovan has had to prove himself, and I think it ultimately is gonna. Day 1 feud is gonna turn into day 20 feud, and like, it's gonna be all about who actually established connections that were worthwhile. And like, let's be real, Chris hasn't had to do that at all because he hasn't had to test himself or show himself up. So I would kind of be blown up if anything other than him getting destroyed happens next week.
Yeah, I'd be pretty shocked if that goes towards like Chris winning that feud. I mean, I feel like I would be less shocked overall if people were just like over it and they were like,
get rid of them both.
Suck.
Yeah.
That has happened, and I would live for that too, because I don't feel Jonathan either.
Yeah.
Donovan, sorry.
Dominic, yeah.
What so many names.
I think at the very beginning of the season I called him like the poor man's Tony. But like not but like he's fine. I mean, so many of these characters are just like fine.
Yeah, there's no one who I'm like madly in love with. I'm like, oh, like.
I mean, I think there's a girl named Angela that's like on the Lolo right now.
She's
but, like,
army. Like, I feel her for her army strong.
Yeah, but I don't know. And then it's hard. And then we have Kellen, who like.
Can we real talk on her and her choice this episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like.
So.
Oh, I don't like. Ooh, like, I don't know how I like. like analytically speaking, if you're coming from a losing tribe that has lost the last 3 tribal councils, even if you do feel like you're in the numbers based off tribal lines, for you to give up your vote, it and a 4-person stitch in order to get it, like I was like thinking Kellen was so analytical to this that she was gonna be like, yeah, I can't risk it, and show my cards. But I don't know. That was my first impression. So I was honestly just surprised she even went for it in the first place.
Yeah, no, that's what I was surprised at too. I thought she would have just gone, she would have been like, nope, can't risk it. But
See, and I wasn't even thinking analytically about Kellen or Kellen's predicament in any way, shape, or form. I was literally making it about myself. I was like, wow, if I was on there, I have literally the worst luck on earth, and I would pick the one that didn't have anything in it.
Right.
Absolutely be me.
Because she had an opportunity last time and lost, she got nothing, right?
no, she didn't do it at all.
She just didn't do it. She didn't think it was worth the risk at that point.
Because at that point, it was a 5-4 split on.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But hey, she ended up with goodies. Sierra is screaming with goodies.
Enough that she was like, I just have to go for broke. Like, you just never know.
Right. And hey, we get a pretty parchment with Michaela's name on it.
And I'm glad we got a Michaela flashback.
Michaela, who's like, as Steven was saying, more interesting than most people on this cast, if not
which is unfortunate, but
I would say all of them.
The high bar.
Yeah, Michaela is a high bar, so
she's great. Yeah, it's cool that we saw this episode. Not only are they doing kind of the cursed hidden immunity idols, but now they're doing just cursed objects in general.
Yes.
I think that's pretty sweet. With the necklace that Wendell found that was not a hidden immunity idol, it was just an immunity idol, and
it was a stick.
Rabbit safe.
Also, Ozzy's immunity dildo, all glowed up.
Yes. Stick. I was dead when I saw that the stick has now become an idol.
I just festered for 10 years and it grew in its powers.
Did it grow into a tree or even a branch? Remained a stick.
Can I just say that the stick has a better, more well-crafted story arc than 75% of this cast, and that's scary to me. Think about that 10-year saga. You could my God,
I mean, honestly, I just love that the Survivor production people had the foresight to keep these iconic items, because I know at the end of every Survivor season they do a huge auction where they actually auction off tons of the iconic I guess items from the season, and they give that money to charity, which is really incredible. But I'm just so shocked that more of this really insane cool stuff was not already auctioned away, and it makes me wonder how long has this concept been in the works that they were finally okay.
So that's kind of where I wanted to bring the discussion, because
perfect.
When I saw 3 different types of advantages get blown up in one episode, all of them with backstories, I was like, is this Ghost Island to try to bring back Survivor lore, or is it really just a catalyst to make this overplay central? Are they finally buying into the fact that a majority of their casual fans have become smart to what Survivor is and accustomed to the twists and turns that they're just ready to pull the trigger on? Okay, we're gonna see if people just us littering the game with all of these advantages and stuff, and we'll see how people react to it. And we're gonna tie in all of the stuff from past seasons in order to do that. So I know I'm going wicked into it, but at the same time, I'm just I'm so torn on that thought, because we just got 3 advantages in one game. We got an extra vote and we got 2 hidden immunity idols in a matter of 3 days. So, and if we're playing based off of survival lore, we have to presume that there are hidden immunity idols on each beach. So that means that there are even more opportunities in this game for these types of advantages. So it's are we finally getting to the point where Survivor is becoming overplayed and we're actualizing it and just normalizing it? Or is this a play to Survivor's past?
I feel like we're now at the point 36 seasons in where they've seen the success of the nostalgic seasons that we've recently had where they've brought back like favorites that like we voted in. They've brought back favorites that like are extremely rootable or controversial or just like really have people enjoy watching them play. And so I think they're capitalizing on that nostalgia from like the fans. And I wonder also if they're like hoping that like old Survivor fans will then like bring in new fans and be like, "Oh my gosh," and like share the story of like when they remember seeing this twist for the first time or they remember seeing this like huge mistake and like because so many of these things, no matter how good or bad we are at remembering all of the seasons, like so many of these stick out in our minds and we just go back to that. Like we know. We're not like,
Right.
"Oh my gosh, that happened? That's so crazy." Like we know.
And the other, the crazy thing is, like, this is the first, like, to my memory, the first regular season of Survivor with non-returners where they're providing flashbacks to Survivor lore.
Yeah.
So that's totally right. Like, I think that this may be a great, like, we may see this as the great bridge from like casual fans to like real, like invested fans to casual fans. Like, maybe that's like the overarching purpose of this season, which may be really awesome for the Survivor sustainability.
I agree. I hope it just continues to contribute to Survivor's continued airing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's like I mean, yes, everything is overplayed and it's crazy, but I think it's more just like okay, we can use this as like nostalgia and like yes, everyone is going crazy and like getting all these advantages, but I think that's just because it fits so well with the theme of this season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that that's where the um the Survivor, I guess, universe is headed.
Right.
I would like to think that. I mean, I know we've had like the crazy Tyler Perry idol in the past, but like overall, they're not usually doing this much stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I will say it gets exhausting just watching idol search after idol search season after season.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Right. But I do kind of like that, like, instead of just being like everybody digging in the dirt for an idol, like, it doesn't like in past seasons, it's just been the survivability of digging for idols, where this season it just seems like people come of it like more like I don't know. It didn't like when Wendell founded this episode, I believe it came off so inconspicuously, whereas like in other seasons, like it's literally a fight for survival to get the idol. And
Right.
I think that they did it very well in the advantages and how they were found and being able to like bring in the importance of what those items were in Survivor history without making it seem like it was just scavenging and everything like that, like it does for a lot of seasons. Like I can't like the majority of like the survival finds or like idol finds at least are like people just digging and trying to find
Right.
an idol for the purpose of that, but like it didn't feel like that. Like and it was very well supplemented by the
Right.
fact that he was the person that found like the Eric idol for his neck. For some reason, I felt like that was great synergy for Wendell that he somehow got Eric's Unity necklace.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like this season, the idols, because they have such an important backstory, are definitely being given like the time they deserve, I guess, for like lack of a better explanation. But it's like they're able to be appreciated in these moments when they're found for not only what they will do for the player, but for what they did for the past player that held it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like I'm just getting a little tired of being like of everyone being like, oh, I'm just gonna look for all these weird landmarks and like strange trees and
Yeah.
like like it's just not unique anymore. It's not like a
at some point
revolutionary thought people are having. I would go out and that would be the first thing I would do, and I think that's the first thing at this point anyone who's watched Survivor would do, and it's just like it's getting a little tedious from that perspective.
Yeah.
They're definitely injecting
Yeah.
freshness. Technically, they're injecting freshness by bringing back old things.
Yeah.
But
It's weird. It's like it's like not Survivor so much anymore. It's like Mad Scavenger Hunt. It's like who can like find the idol first, and I don't know. I feel like we've got a bit of an overload on advantages.
So that's what we were like. You got buzzed, your internet buzzed out for a bit, and that
Yeah.
was our discussion. Was in Survivor playing to its past and really trying to bridge casual fans into what Survivor's past has been, or is this just a way for them to introduce a lot of different advantages into the game for people to find to overplay at some point?
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So like we were like, it's a healthy balance of both. Like I think that this is kind of like I think there's like it's both purposes for them. Like I think that they're trying to educate the casual fan about what Survivor's past has been, but at the same time, they're testing out. They know a lot of different advantages are in the game at the same time. How does this look like? Are we able to make this a regular thing where every episode we're dropping down advantages and stuff like that? And that's the thing that fans are looking for, or are they looking for a more authentic, back to basic Survivor experience like we've had for the past?
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see, like, as we get into the merge, if maybe there will be less of these random advantages that get dropped now because there's going to be more, like, strategic play and, like, more interpersonal, like, relationships that are going to be kind of brought to the forefront of everything. But, I don't know. But I guess we'll find out. What do you guys think about the merge coming up? Because it's a coming.
So how many someone give me a number of players left in the game? Like what's
13,
the number?
too many.
Nope.
There's 15 or
13.
13. Okay.
I still think 13 is too many, even in a 20 person season. I think it's still too many.
I don't disagree with you. I think that helps me feel more comfortable to think that they're playing like they're testing out like more mix-uppy like production decisions in terms of tribal and stuff, in terms of switching like tribes up every 2 rounds and then throwing it into a 13-person merge. It feels much more like an online reality game.
We'll see. I mean, we're definitely gonna see the drama again of like Chris v. Dominic, but I don't know. I'm excited. I always like it. Like, I'm not a big 3 tribe fan just because the numbers get so small that it kind of almost seems like a crapshoot as to like who's gonna make it and who isn't because everyone is so vulnerable. So I like that we're merging now, and so we're gonna get rid of that. And it will be interesting to see kind of I'm assuming that it's just going to go right back to old original tribal lines because thus far like that's pretty much how everyone's been voting.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see, once everyone's living together, obviously the dynamics can change and the relationships can change.
I think it's very much going to be a tale of whether or not the game continues to go the pattern of original tribal lines, or if we get manifested into the new battle of Dominic versus Chris, or if that's just going to be the ending of a fizzling beginning.
Which is entirely possible.
Which I'm praying for. I really I think that Chris has done his entertainment value, but nobody is invested in who he is other than him being comedic fodder. So if this was his downfall, it's just as tasty as Bradley's tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. It'll be fun. I don't know. Who do you guys think, like, based on just now, is gonna do really well / make it to the end / win?
Wendell, which I'm good. I like Wendell.
Ooh,
That's a.
I dig Wendell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really feeling Michael for some reason. I
Yeah,
feel
me too.
I'm feeling like he like they really he's like they establish he's 18 years old. He is been on the bottom of all tribal politics for the entirety of the game. He stumbles onto an advantage, an idol this round. He miraculously brings his team to not have to go to tribal, the tribal before tribal council where the numbers were against him. And now he's gonna be falling into merge. I don't know. It seems like a very hero edit at this point for Michael.
I mean, he's to me reminiscent of Malcolm, and that like he's been to so many tribal councils, and he's like that attractive, like physical threat guy that you, but like that you can't help but like because he's not like a bad dude. I don't know.
No, exactly.
It's sad that we live in the world. Oh, okay, going on. Nothing.
I like him. He's not a bad dude.
He's not a bad dude at all.
But yeah, so I'm digging Michael. I was digging Wendell. Who else am I digging? Do I even like anyone else? I honestly care. Oh, I like Donathan a lot. I don't know that he's gonna like stand the test of time. I feel like near the end, people might get wise and realize that if he was to go to the end, he's just like too damn lovable, and like people will just vote for him. But I could see him making it fairly far and then kind of being that sad, like, oh no, not you, Donathan.
Right.
Near the end.
Yeah, I'm kind of actually curious, Steven, who is your favorite? Like, who's your favorite character? Just like, right?
I'd have to go with Donathan. I think I really enjoy him. I like Donathan. And then I really like Laurel, but I don't know how well she's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So those are probably my two
I forgot
favorites.
about Laurel.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the struggle for us is like we're going into merge at 13, so people are now gonna get lost again, and like
Right.
we're gonna run into like episodes where we may get vote outs that are just fodder because they like merged early that they didn't invest in.
I like Desiree.
Yeah, I like her too.
Desiree has some flap on the wooden board.
Yes, it was great. She was so happy.
I also want to give a shout out to Survivor Ghost Island because this is the first time since Fiji, I think, that we've had 3 African American people make the merge. And we've got 2 women of color still in. So shout out to Ghost Island for diversity.
Oh, nice.
Shout out for casting for giving more opportunity for people that are not in the majority.
Hashtag diversity.
Yeah.
I'm curious, who's everybody's dark horse to win this season?
Dark horse.
Dark horse, give it to me like Gabe Harry.
That's a great question.
I don't know.
I feel like in order to like name a dark horse, I would have to know their names.
I'll go first then, and then maybe we'll be able to bring some ideas. So I'm gonna go with Kellen based off of the fact that they've kind of invested the time in her. And, like, you always remember Kellen for one reason or another every episode, which you can barely remember other people's names. And Kellen is someone
because of her insane facial expressions, though.
But she's still memorable, and she still ended up with an advantage going into merge this season. So she's also in the same position as Michael, where she could be a tragically sympathetic character in my mind.
Interesting.
Yep. And you?
I think Steven was saying earlier how he like feels like he should be rooted. Like he's like, I want to be able to for Kellen. I feel like I should be rooting for Kellen, but like I'm just not rooting for Kellen.
Well, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at, and she could surprise me, but I'm on her right now.
I'm not
And I
looking
feel
for
like
Miss Congeniality. I'm looking for Miss Dark Horse.
maybe my dark horse would be Laurel, just because we've seen bits and pieces of her, and I think like she shines in certain like interpersonal relationships and
Hmm.
kind of identifying like people that I need to kind of gather into my, not even army, but just like bring into my fold or like bring into my orbit kind of.
Hmm.
But we just haven't seen enough of her because her tribe has been winning quite a bit, to really flesh out more of who she is. So I think it could be really cool to see her in the merge if she continues to kind of go that way. I think she could take it really far.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I was gonna say she has not been to tribal since the Morgan vote, so she is. Yeah.
She's the definition of a dark horse. You just don't know her potential at all.
Right.
Yeah. It could be great.
I just like I always get weary for anybody that goes into like the merge or anything like that where they have no like next to no definition.
Mm.
Like that's when I'm like
Next to know what
definition in terms of who they are on screen. Like
they are.
the farthest I can go in terms of winners who have been like outside of like any type of like character development is Michelle.
Michelle.
And even Michelle in like her first two episodes were still like involved in tribal politics. Laurel has like even though Laurel has had like stuff going around in the tribe, she hasn't been involved in any confessionals, any type of conversations regarding dynamics, which make the puzzle pieces in my mind don't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like I would love for her to because the stuff that we have seen, I would love for her to blossom out because I think that she has a lot of potential. I really personally would enjoy seeing her do well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Me too. What about you, Steven? Who's your dark horse?
Laurel probably. For the real reasons that Ben hit on. So.
Yeah.
Stealing my ideas. Just kidding. I was almost stealing yours.
I have another reason why I'm fleshing out my Helen response also. It's because of the scene in Ghost Island where they panned her face and behind her was the phrase
Oh
my
yeah.
God.
one mistake could change your fate in the game or to something to that effect.
No, but
I'm
it was
like,
ominous. It was like one bad choice
right.
and
And
your
I'm just
game.
like, that is either ominous because she's gonna be the victim of her own mistake, or she's gonna be the one that orchestrates some bullshit that goes on.
No, I took that to be like, you are effed. It was like it was like coming down on her. It was like looming over her in black. It was not good. She is so screwed. I forgot about that. The time I was like, oh,
I have one nugget question for everyone. I think then we can go to the buys. Did anybody believe before tribal or during tribal that Bradley was not going home?
yeah.
No, because I felt like. Oh.
I want to hear you, Alicia, right now. Shout out.
It was just too obvious. Like they just kept complaining about him, and I was like, yeah, okay, like really hate him. He's so annoying, but we're keeping him around because loyalty. Like it happens all the time. Like it's the person that we hear about is almost never the person that's going home. And I get that we didn't
Yeah.
hear really as much. Like we heard a bit about Libby, and like we honestly didn't really hear about Jonathan going home or not. But like the option was there, and it was just as likely that we would be having like a Jonathan blindside, like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or a Bradley like blindside, I guess. As
You
he,
get all the
as
white men
he
mixed up. It's okay.
wanting to
There's
be
a
one
lot of
of the
them.
greats was like pleased to be blindsided, for reasons that were totally different than what he imagined them to be. But
But yeah, that was the episode.
But oh,
Yeah.
Steven,
Yes.
Steven, you were saying earlier that like in a trailer for this coming episode, they spoiled who was going home. Was it Bradley?
Yeah. So I guess the web team, the web promo people, I guess they put out the wrong press pictures for the episode, and they just, they spoiled the whole thing. Like you saw Bradley's torch getting snuffed. I mean, like
What?
Oh my
like it was
God.
wild.
Someone's getting
So I was like,
fired.
well, then
Yeah.
this happened in Bloodwater, where they spoiled the Laura vote and they spoiled Rocks. So
Oh my God. But like,
this is not
They should know
Claudia
a
better
was
by
her mom. Everyone knew
2018.
she was gonna be
right.
her mom.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
dirty. Womp womp.
Oh my God. Well, that is a bummer. It's so funny. Like, Steven, I wanted to message you, like, right when they were going to tribal council and be like, oh my God, just tell me, like,
yeah,
is it Bradley? Because I just wanted to know if I was either going to be, like, really satisfied or, like, pretty annoyed. Like,
right.
the end of it. Which I didn't. I didn't spoil it for myself. But, I want to. Because sometimes you just get so eager to know. But hopefully that will not happen for the rest of the season because I feel like the mystery is one of the things that this season has for.
So, are y'all ready for a merge where there's like 4 different advantages and stuff at the start of
I
the
don't
merge?
I don't think they're ready. I don't think we're ready. I don't
I
know
don't
if
think anyone's ready.
S was ready for that. Like what if it
I
all
think
comes
the
to a
best
head at like one
part,
tribal council, like he's just gonna explode. It's gonna
I
like
think,
we're gonna
oh,
see like the light when they're leaving, but it will have actually been like on the second day of tribal council because they will have like stayed 48 hours because there will be so many questions. It will
I'm ready for it. I'm excited because I don't feel like, even though we know that there's all this stuff ready to be played for the merge, I don't think it's gonna be immediately necessary. So
yeah.
it's gonna, like, people are gonna move on and normalize the game based off of what's happening.
Or everyone's just gonna like blow their load and like
No,
throw all of their advantages and shit. I don't know. Maybe it'll be like Survivor Splosion.
I'm just ready for the Survivor clusterfuck.
Yes. Oh my
I
God.
just want a tribal where like 6 different advantages are played all at once.
Oh my
I'm just
God.
ready for that realization.
We need that again in our lives. That
I
episode was
know.
really good. I don't remember what happened. I just remember it was insane, and people just kept playing their idols, like idol and idol and idol and idol. Like,
Literally, the producers are going to the
what
rule book and like,
are
fuck.
you doing? Oh my God, I can't wait for okay. I can't wait for like the moment that Jeff is handed a stick and is like, yes, this is in fact. I want someone. Wait, who found that? That was
Was that Wendell? No, he got Eric.
No, Michael.
Michael got the
Michael.
stick.
I want Michael to try and bring someone to the side and be like, "This is an idol I found," and they're just like, "Are
I
you?"
really hope it's someone like Helen that's like, that's the stick.
I hope it's not. I hope it's someone that is feels completely deceived and is like, "Are you kidding me? Like, you trying to trick me with a stick?" And it's like,
Because we all wanted to be Desiree.
Yeah.
oh my God, that would be so good. Goals, season goals, West Island goals. But anyway, any final thoughts before we wrap up this episode?
My final thought is that like this season has done well in hyping me up for the second half of the season. It gave itself more cred than I was willing to give it.
Mm-hmm.
Much like last season.
Good. That's good. That's always a positive way to go, to not be like, oh my God, let's just get it over with. So that's good. I'm excited. I'm excited for the merge. I'm excited to catch up on the episode. I didn't say
Yeah.
that though. But it'll be great. Anyway, thanks for joining and thanks for listening. And this was fun, and we'll try and do it again soon. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But until next time, have a wonderful night / day.
Bye.
Whatever.